I'm going to talk about birds. So, initially, I just believe that birds are categorized into two categories. One being Tweety birds, and the other being larger birds. Tweety birds were smaller and they made little chirpy sounds, and the larger birds would fly overhead, and that's all you'd really see of them. Sometimes they would circle around. But recently, I have a friend named Mikey, and he's really into birds. And he took me on this hike in nature and was telling me about all the different bird species and how they all make different sounds and they all go after different food sources. For example, some birds eat seeds, some birds look for dead animals, some birds look for live animals. Now, he's a good friend of mine, so his love and passion for birds has rubbed off on me recently. So now every time I hear a noise, I just heard a bird noise actually. I'm thinking, what kind of bird is that? So one of the things I learned very recently is that a mourning dove makes this very low sound. It almost sounds like what you might imagine an owl sounding, very low. And this was really cool for me because I thought that doves were something uncommon. But then learning about the sound that they make, I'm thinking, that's something I hear almost every morning, sometimes every day. It's a dove. And I just had no idea. Another thing I learned is that not all blackbirds are the same. So initially, I thought every bird that was black is just the same type of bird, but it turns out that there's crows, there's, well, I forgot the others. I have a long way to go still. Anyways, there's some birds that hang around the neighborhood sometimes, though we're in a more suburban region, so they're more domesticated birds. The way my friend explained this to me is that there are certain bird species that have evolved with humans to, live alongside us and eat things that we get rid of, for example, like a pigeon in a city, for example, eats whatever trash is lying around, or a seagull on a beach will eat somebody's fries that they drop. Now, the variety of birds we get around here, there's some chickadees, there's some, let me try and get this right. There's a tufted titmouse around here. There's an American robin, which I'm sure many of you have seen American robins. They are grayish brown on their back, and then their whole belly is orange red. It's very common. I'm sure you see it every day. But that's an American robin. And then there's also a good abundance of cardinals, but they're less common to see, so it's a real treat to see a very red cardinal. My favorite bird so far, I couldn't tell you the exact type, but it was this woodpecker that my friend Mikey and I saw while hiking in the woods. So that brings us to the other type of bird, which is the ones that are not so much domesticated by people because they don't live in these suburban neighborhoods. Instead, they live in the forest like other animals do. And so they have a more natural predator prey cycle. What that means is that instead of eating trash, they have each their own niche. Again, this is what my friend explained to me. Each bird has their own niche of thing they eat so that they don't contradict each other. For example, two different species of birds are unlikely to eat the same thing. So he explained to me that that creates a cycle where everything is consumed and reused. And all the nutrients in a forest, even by the trees and the plants and the animals, every nutrient has its way in the cycle so that at any given time, 70% of nutrients are used by some plant or some animal. Although he said that that's in this specific forest region. However, he said, this was really interesting to me. He said that in the Amazon rainforest, 100% of the nutrients is used. So there's no room for any outside species to come in because there's no excess nutrients. Anyways, I hope that was interesting.